I want to ask you guys a really important question. Like I said, we don't really talk about lines as much in terms of like looking at sort of the historic lines that Hot Toys has released, which ones we think are the best, which are the worst, so forth. But I kind of want to just go with something simple for this question. Which Hot Toys movie figure line, so movie line, not TV show, comic, whatever. So we're talking about a specific movie line. We could say Civil War, we could say Endgame, we could say A New Hope, we could say Rogue One, whatever, right? Something like that specifically. What is the best Hot Toys movie figure line in your opinion? And I'm going to save mine for last because I don't want to take steal anyone's thunder here. But I actually want to jump to Dean first. Dean, what is the best Hot Toys movie figure line, bro? What should people be collecting if they want a line?
For me specifically, and this is exactly what I did, because I was pretty late to the game. I didn't start collecting until 2016, I think.
Yeah.
2017. A New Hope for me. One, Star Wars is probably, I think if you collect Hot Toys, you probably collect Star Wars somewhere. It's kind of, what got them started and what's continued to make them money. But it's also kind of the most fleshed out one. You got Han, Chewie, Leia, Luke, Obi-Wan, Vader, Tarkin. We still need a fucking C-3PO. But you got R2. Did they make a New Hope R2?
I don't think they made a Force Awakens one, and they made isn't Empire the other one?
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. Okay, yeah, one of those two.
So if they don't have C-3PO, which is one of the most important, does that make it not a complete figure line?
We'll see, because then you go into Empire. You still don't have Han or a Chewie from that movie. Again, R2 or 3PO. I guess you could futz them in. I have the Force Awakens one I just use. But it's not totally fleshed out. Same thing for Return of the Jedi. Still missing a Han, Chewie again. So to me, the most iconic film in the original trilogy is A New Hope. It's what started it. And those figures still hold up. They are so good. I think Han Solo is probably one of the greatest Hot Toys ever produced. That thing, the tailoring is amazing. The likeness is great. The accessories are insane. So yeah, this is the one I have. I have the 2-pack of Han and Chewie. And I just think that A New Hope is the most fleshed out it could be. They even have like the Death Star gunner. They have the Death Star, what's he called? With the weird helmet?
I think I know which one you're talking
Death
about.
Squad Trooper, whatever the hell it's called.
Oh, okay.
Again, Tarkin, Vader. It's just so good. That line is amazing. We just need an R2 and a C-3PO for this movie, and we're good to go. But that's what I did. The first thing I did is I started narrowing it down to A New Hope. So
I think we need a new Farm Boy Luke, Dean. I think we need
a 2.0 would be great,
Yeah.
but I do. Where's my Luke? I had him here.
Do you have that Farm Boy Luke?
Yeah, he's literally right here on my desk.
Oh, nice. It's not a bad figure, but it could use an update. Yeah,
it's great. But a 2.0 would be fantastic.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it can be improved. Yeah.
Yeah, but had a ton of accessories. I mean, more accessories than you see even today.
Yeah.
So this figure I really love. It's kind of like everybody kind of like relates to Luke in that way. Like you're kind of stuck in a rut and you want to go on this adventure, but you got responsibilities. And then what happens when, you have to answer that call, even if you're not ready, and Luke is such a great like hero figure growing up that I love Luke, and A New Hope starts it all. So that was like the Luke I knew I had to own. So I was like, I'm just going to start fleshing out my collection with Hot Toys A New Hope figures. So
I like that, Dean. I like that description of Luke as sort of the hero that's not ready to be the hero yet. We've all maybe
not really a reluctant hero like he wants to, but it's like, dude, I got work
it's not
to
like
do.
Han.
I gotta do all this stuff, and then he's just kind of thrust into it. He answers the call fantastically. So I just love Luke, and A New Hope is to me the ultimate. I guess if you love Marvel more, obviously you're not going to agree with me, but yeah, to me that's the line.
Well, I guess we're gonna see. Okay, well, I want to save Lael for last because he's gonna be a wild card. I think. I don't know what Lael's gonna say on this one, but Carlos, I have a pretty good idea. What's the best movie figure line from Hot Toys for you?
So I think the best one would be, and it's because they've made vehicles, small vehicles, 2.0s. They've done all kinds of small side characters, all the main ones. I think the Dark Knight,
Really,
the whole
you
trilogy.
surprised me, bro.
Yeah, I think so because they've made.
That's a pretty good choice.
They made the Batmobile. They made the Catmo Batmobile. They even made from the Dark Knight Rises the actual the bat or the helicopter form. They made the Batpod. They made Catwoman. They made Bane. Those figures are older. They're making the 2.0s. Batman Begins. The Joker is something we're expected all to see soon. Same thing with the new Bane. They even did fucking Alfred. They did the Armory. They even did a Bat Signal.
They have Robin.
You got Robin. You got the one cop. I forget his name. The actor's name. So they've done a full line there where you can really fill up an entire module case of it. There isn't a single piece that's like missing, unlike Marvel or I don't believe in Marvel. There's a specific, like, even if you go Endgame, like Valkyrie from that scene is missing, or even like Star Wars, you have C-3PO that's missing. One of the key iconic characters is missing. So I think the Dark Knight trilogy is the most complete because if you're a vehicle collector, the bat, everything for the most. I think the only one that's missing is, I forget his name, but he's the one from Batman Begins, the Ross Ghul or something like that.
Ra's al Ghul.
I forget his name.
Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, he's the only one
Liam
missing.
Neeson. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's, he wasn't even like one of the main guys. It was Bane and Heath Ledger that most people usually tend to talk about, not necessarily him in the first one. I know some people really still like that movie though. So yeah, it's the one too that if you can go on the secondary market and go get custom capes for, people still upgrade it. And yeah, so I think it's the best movie figure line because of what it brought, what is being updated, and just how great the figures are, honestly, at this point. So yeah, that is, I think, what it is. The Dark Knight trilogy is the best movie figure line. It's not missing any iconic characters, unlike Marvel and Star Wars. And
that's a good answer. And you got quarter scale from it.
And you got quarter scale. So yeah, I think
you got a lot of diversity there in the line there. But yeah, man, that's I thought you for sure were going to go Endgame. I thought you for sure were definitely.
No, because it's missing. Someone said Mantis. That's a good idea. Yeah, but like Mantis, Valkyrie, it's missing a couple pieces.
Wanda.
So because right, you don't have the Black Order, right? You only have Thanos. Like you have a lot of missing pieces in there. So I wouldn't say that's the most complete. Russ, again, I forget the Liam Neeson, whatever. He is missing, but I don't. That's like, I don't know. Like if the Shatari was missing, I don't think he's that important. At least I don't think so. You know what I mean?
He's like,
he was. Bro. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean, right? I don't think people are like, don't feel like their collection is incomplete. But with Hot Toys, Star Wars, right? C-3PO, and again, I already said the Marvel ones. So yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, Lael, man, what about you, man? What's the best Hot Toys movie figure line for you?
Well, I mean, it's to me, it's just obvious. It's going to be now when we're saying line, we're talking about not one particular film, but we're talking about
that was the goal. But
the
Carlos
films
made it a whole trilogy,
within the trilogy itself. All right,
no, just mostly one film is what.
One film.
I would because like basically, if you said like the sequel trilogy, that'd be the same as like saying the Dark Knight. Basically, you'd have 3 films. So, but I really was going after like one film. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, if you're going after one film, I want to, and I don't want to say because
it's tough. It's tough.
I you know what? I'll stick with what Dean said. I will because the thing is, A New Hope itself, iconic as it is, and pretty much one of the first official films that I actually seen in the theaters in 1977. It was like, I mean, again, I'm a Star Wars fan, have been diehard, before, even though I'm a comic book fan, I'm a comic book collector. Star Wars has always been my first love. And to have New Hope, to have one of the first, OT trilogy figures that I actually got before I got Han and Chewbacca and Leia, was Obi-Wan, because I still say that by far, besides, my General figure that I actually have in my collection, Yeah, Obi-Wan, that Allegiance piece is
Oh,
one of the
dude.
greatest pieces
Yeah, it's great.
ever made, ever made, hands down. One of the greatest pieces. That head sculpt alone, it's like you're looking at Alec Guinness. And if it doesn't take you back, to the trilogy, if it doesn't take you back to how you felt, I mean, look at that right there. That even go back to the
Bruh.
one where you see with the hood up and his
Oh
and
yeah,
his
with the hood
saber
up.
in his hand.
Hold on, let me get rid of Honey.
If
They're
you
trying to
if you
advertise to me.
Yeah, if you go back to
There
that
we go.
one, yeah, right there, bro. That is so iconic. Right there, that is iconic of him walking down the corridor right before he faces Vader, igniting his blade. You know, again, I mean, it's. I think that it just speaks volumes to what you can get. And these are, and any piece that you actually have is a Grail piece from this trilogy. Literally, if you have Obi-Wan, if you have Leia, if you have Farm Boy Luke, if you have Han, if you have Chewbacca, if you have Tarkin, you have Vader. You know what I mean? If you're looking at these, even some of the TIE fighter figures that you can actually find from this piece, the TIE fighter pilots, like literally, it's an amazing piece to have, or pieces to have in your collection, and it kind of started it all, for any Star Wars collection figure or collectible figure that we actually are getting now. So for me, yeah, I would say that, it would have to be New Hope, like definitely New Hope, because that piece right there, I mean, that Obi-Wan Kenobi, I honestly, that's the one figure that I do not believe you will ever see a 2.0 for. I don't.
Okay.
I really don't. As of right now, I really don't. And if you have it in your collection right now, it's a blessing, because it's an amazing piece to have. And I'm so glad I got it before it sold out.
I bought it loose a few years ago
Mhm.
for like $150.
Damn. I just sold mine. I sold mine like less than 6 months ago. Yeah.
Oh,
Because someone gave me
it's-
$500 for it. So I was like, okay, cool. why
Oh
not?
shit!
So,
Yeah, no.
yeah. So
He only had his light up arm attached, but I was like I don't care. He's
Yeah,
gonna be
it's
wearing the cloak anyway. Like,
Yeah.
you can hardly see it when he's standing there. So,
But it's Leo's right. It's a beautiful head sculpt. It's one
Crazy
of the best
good.
ones that I've
Yeah.
seen. Yeah, no doubt. And Leo, I hope they do remake it. Maybe a anniversary or something, bro. Like, hope they do.
I don't know. I mean,
Maybe not.
I don't know. I mean, we're moving on to Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary coming up here in April. So, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know if they will. As of right now, I'm gonna say they won't. They could surprise us. They might go back and dip in the well and say, "Look, we're gonna make a 2.0." You never know with Hot Toys. But I mean, to have this piece in your collection, like literally, it's a gold mine for me. And I don't sell figures, so I don't really have to worry about that. Yeah,
It's true, man. Absolutely, bro. And yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that no one picked Endgame, because I think that would have been probably the one that I think a lot of people would have chosen.
You know why I didn't?
Why? What's up?
Because it was the worst experience. That's why.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
It's
A lot of delays and stuff.
Considered a lot of delays for it. On top of that, a lot of poorly made figures from that line. Because if you actually have that I'm telling you that what did they call him, the overweight Thor?
Fat
Bro
Thor.
Thor.
Bro Thor. Yeah.
That figure's terribly made, and I'm so glad I did not get it. You know what I mean? I did not actually have it. We're still waiting on Loki. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just it was the worst experience for a collector who wanted to actually get any figure from that line. So that's why I didn't mention it.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, there are some bangers in that line, though. I mean, like, the Captain America, I know most people love. The Iron Man Battle Damage Mark 85, that one is a grail in the making, no doubt about it for me. And Infinity War was a tough one too, Leo. That was one where I was looking at also, because there's a lot of good ones in that line too. A lot of good figures. That War Machine is really good. That Thanos, the Mark 50, which not everyone's favorite, but I think that's a pretty good figure. The Avengers 1 line is really good for its time. I think one that people tend to forget about now, that like almost every figure was like absolute hit, right? It was actually the Civil War line. The Civil War line was really, really good, because you had the did you have a Spider-Man? I think you did, right? No, maybe that came out later. But they had Black Panther, they had that Wanda, they had the Falcon, they had Captain America himself. Like and then the Mark 46, like that was a really good line. That was like a line, especially the battling version of Captain America. Like that one was really popular, still is. It's tough. It would probably be one of those three for me. If I had to choose, I'd probably go Endgame, because I'm getting a Loki from it. Hopefully it turns out good. I guess we'll see. But Battle Damage Thanos, I didn't love that figure, but a lot of people really love that figure. Endgame has a lot of good figures. So does Infinity War, but that's probably
you know what?
least popular Captain America though.
You know what could potentially be a contender as well? People might not agree, but once this figure comes out, I believe it will be a contender, and that's the Justice League. Because literally, once we actually get that Cyborg in hand, you get a chance to complete the trilogy from that. I mean, you can almost go out and buy like the third party figures for like a Darkseid or a Steppenwolf.
Yeah, you could.
So if you get those figures in hand, pretty much I mean, that's completing a line right there. So I think it's pretty good. I can't wait to get Cyborg. So
yeah. So, but I was going to say, Carlos, Endgame. As we put a wrap on this one, Carlos, do you have anything else to add to that about Endgame?
No, I mean, just because it's missing a few figures, because just because I knew, because a New Hope, like I said, it's missing your main one, so it's C-3PO, so I couldn't say it's the most complete. It's missing one of the most iconic characters of all time, so like, I couldn't say that. And Endgame is just missing just too many pieces. You know what I mean? Justice League is pretty good. I just wish that if they would have done like the Batmobile for that, then you could have been like, dude, it's everything for it. You know what I mean? So like, but yeah, if Hot Toys was to ever make like the Falcon cockpit, they teased multiple times, and that C-3PO, then yeah, New Hope would be like, a clear winner at that point. So
yeah, it's true. It's true.